Hi and welcome to this solo review of Heat Pedal to the Metal. I will first tell a little bit about what Heat is, how you can play. We'll then go into the look and feel of the game, into the solo mode or the solo play mode, and then I will end this review with my thoughts on the game. So let's start. What is Heat? Heat is a racing game. Makes a lot of sense, right? And in this game you will be trying to go first after a few laps on a track, and you will also have to make sure that you do not spin out at the corners and that you do not overheat your engine. If you can manage to do that and pull out in front, then you will win the game of Heat. So how do you play? In Heat, everyone has a deck of cards, and this deck of cards helps them determine their speed. In a normal game of Heat, everyone has the same cards, to which you will add stress cards. These stress cards can also help you determine speed, but they will make your speed determination random. You're stressed, so you're not sure if you're going 1 or 4 speed. Your focus is lost. Then everyone has heat in their engine, and it depends on the track that you're playing how much heat you have, and this heat you will use, you will have to use when you boost, when you might spin out of corners and you're going too fast, and when you run out of heat. That will be bad for your engine and for you. During the game there will be ways to cool off your engine again and put the heat back, but that is a careful balance that you will have to make. During the game, and I will put the dashboard in front of me so you can see what you can do in the game. So in the game, everyone starts off by determining their gear, and your gear determines how many cards you have to play. So in one you have to play 1 card, etc. It also determines if you can maybe cool down. So if you're in the lower gear, you can also cool down, which means you can put some heat cards back into your engine, and that will help you in the long run. So this is your engine with your heat cards, and this is where your speed cards go. So once you have determined your gear, so say 2, you will play 2 cards from your hand of 7 out in front of you, and they will determine the speed that you will go. So in this case, I will be going a 5 speed. Once everyone has done this, we will start playing with our cars around the track. So the person in the lead will go first, and they will go the speed that they have determined with their cards. If you're the player that's in last, or with 5 or more players second to last, you can go 1 extra speed and you can cool 1 down. Then you can use effects that you have. So if you have cooldown effects that you can use those at this moment. You can boost. So this little plus means you can boost, which basically means you can add speed, but it will be random. So when you boost, you will be drawing cards until you draw one with this symbol, and you will then add that speed to your total. So you might know what you get, but you might not know what you're getting. And that also means if you boost, for example, this way, you will have heat that you will have to take. So you add it to your discard pile and add it to your deck next time that you shuffle. Once it's in your hand, you cannot get rid of it unless you cool down. There's no other way. You cannot play it, you cannot discard it, you can only get rid of it by cooling down. Then you can slipstream, so if you're next to somebody or right behind someone, you can go 2 extra speed. And this extra speed from slipstreaming doesn't add to your total speed, and your total speed is important when you are going through corners because you do not want to go too fast. So if you reach a corner, you have to do a corner check, which means that you look at your total speed and you see if it exceeds the number that is printed here. So in this case, I would go 4, 5, 6, 7, So that would mean I have made this corner exactly. I have not gone over this number, so I will not take extra heat and I will not spin out. If I do exceed this number, I will have to take heat for every point that I exceed this number. So in this case, this is a fairly nice and easy corner, but as you can see here, there are also very sharp corners that you have to take very slowly or risk spinning out and losing a lot of your progress. Then you discard if you want and you draw back up to 7 and then rinse and repeat for the next turn. That is how you play Heat. It's fairly simple once you get the hang of it. It's easy to play your cards and determine things, but figuring out what you can do and how you will take your corners, speed up when you have to, slow down when you want to, it can be a really nice puzzle. So let's look at this game. So first of all, nice cards. They're nice and sturdy. I really like them actually. We have nice components, as you can see, little cars. We have little gear shifts, and they work great. The cars are pretty detailed, so all in all, I think that's really good. We have these dashboards, and they're really nice. I mean, they're flimsy cardboard, don't get me wrong. So in that sense, but they have a little bit of personality. So they have the color, and they have everything that you need to remember how to play a turn. They have your cards, your discard pile, everything is here, which is nice. They have a little bit of personality, like this 4-leaf clover and this tissue with the kiss, and so some thought went into these, and I like that. Then we have the box, which I will grab. So I have the Dutch version of Heat, which is just called Heat and not Heat Pedal to the Metal. Anyway, so we have these. Then we have the tracks, which there are 4 tracks on 2 boards. And then we have this insert, and this insert is pretty great because everything fits in here. Everything has a place that fits exactly, so there's no question about what goes where. It goes where it goes. So we have all the gear shifts, we have the cars, we have all the cards, and they're in their color. So you can grab red gear shift, red car, and just play, which is great. So all in all, pretty good components. I'm happy with the quality of all of this. So, that's great. No real complaints. Maybe a smaller box, seeing how much space there is in this, but then the tracks would also have to be smaller, and I wouldn't want that. So it's good the way it is. So then, how do you play this game solo? Because that's why we're here. So for a solo game, we use the legends. And you can add the legends to a normal game to add more cars to your total, or you can use it to play solo. And what you do is you can add all other 5 cars or less, but I like to just go with 6 cars because it makes it feel like a real race. And you use this deck and only this deck to control the AI. And what you do, you use this dashboard, which also explains how you play solo, so that's great. And you draw a card, and it determines what the AI will do. And it determines it for all of them. So 1 card to control all of the cars, which is great. So say I am blue, I'm going fast, so I'm going here. Then the AI will go. And they first will look if they are in a corner. Are they actively pursuing a corner right now? So once they cross this border, they are in the corner. In this case, these cars aren't in the corner. They're in front of it. So if they're not in the corner, they try to go as fast as they can. In this case, that will mean that, for example, the green car, which is up now, will go 12. We look at the little helmet. And they will go as fast as they can, but they will not cross the border. So this car can go 12, exactly. So he would go 12 and end up here. But this red car, which would go 17, cannot go 17 without crossing the corner. So instead it will end up at the diamond number. So in this case that will be 2 and it would end up here. If we look at yellow, he could go 13, he can go 13, so he would end up here. And this little green car would be considered to be in front because he's on the racing line. The thick border is the racing line, the ideal line you take through the track, and the green car is on the racing line, so he is considered to be in front. But then, once cars are in a corner, they will have a little bit different rules because they slow down just as a human player would, because they try to take the corner as well as they can. So if we are, for example, here, this green car is now in the corner. You can see here he passed the corner line. Then you use this number, the diamond number, plus the corner number. So in this case, this car would go 3. 1, 2, 3. And he would not actually get through the corner this turn. Next turn, if we draw again, we can see that he would go 1 plus 2, 3 again, so he would then pass through the corner safely. They never take heat, they never spin out, they do nothing else but take their turns. But because they do take into account the corners, or speeding up when there's no corner, they do actually feel like real human players, and they present a real challenge. But then let's get into what I think of the game. So first of all, this solo mode is great. It's so easy to control. And you draw a card and you can drive all of the cars with one card, and they behave and act like a human player would. Like, are they perfect? No, but they're so close. They slow down for corners, they speed up when there's a straight, and sometimes they don't make the corner, sometimes they make the corner a little bit fast, and it feels real and it presents a real challenge. It's not like it's just easy peasy, you just win every time. No, because they're not predictable. So sometimes I try to think, like if I do this or that, I get into the middle of the pack, so there must be a way for me to slipstream them. And then it doesn't happen, and they all go really slowly or they go super fast, and I end up there alone and with no slipstream. And it's like, that is how it would go with a real player. So big compliments and shout out to this solo mode. I really enjoy it, and it's so easy to control. Then the game in general. The game in general is a lot of fun. This is the only racing game I own. I do watch Formula 1, so I have some feeling for racing, and it's a really fun racing game. It feels like racing. The racing lines make sense. Going through the corner this way makes sense. The moments when you have to take heat make sense. When you slow down, go into a lower gear and you can cool off, it makes sense. So it feels like a racing game. It gives that experience. So for that, it's a great game. With the base game, having your normal deck of cards with your heat and your stress, it can start to feel a bit samey. If you play the same track a few times, which I did to just kind of get a feel for the game, it can feel a bit samey. But then this game has some modules, and I really like they've added these in. I would say once you get a hang of the game, just add them, because they add a lot of personality to the game. So for example, we have the sponsors, which add different cards and make your card behave really different. And the same is going on for the garage module. So with this, you add different kinds of cards to your game that really make your card behave differently. And they give you sort of special powers, I guess, you know, like cooling off extra, or be able to discard extra, or you have to take extra heat but you can go extra fast. And you have to adjust your play style to these cards, and it makes you try different strategies, different ways to take heat or get rid of it, or you know, it really makes you see the game in a different light, and I really enjoy that. And then we also have the weather module, which adds weather to like the whole track and parts of the track. So for example, if you have this, you can see that you take one less heat card in your engine because it's really cold and your engine doesn't generate as much heat, I guess. And you know, it's like it changes up the game enough that you have to play differently and take into account this change in the game state. So you have this, and then you also have these, which then change parts of the track. So you know, you add those to the track. That's a bit random, but and they also change something about the game. The only kind of like negative or downside to this is that these modules don't really impact the legends. They don't impact the solo opponent. So the only way they can be impacted by these modules is with the weather modules. Some effects do affect the solo AI, but otherwise these don't really change, and the modules don't change them. You know, like these garage cards are great. There's a whole stack of them. Look at them, they're great, but you cannot add them to the opponent because they have these cards, and so they change up the game for me as the player. They change the way I play, but they don't change the way the opponent plays. So that will always stay the same. For me, that hasn't been a problem yet, because I've been really enjoying playing. I've been enjoying changing up the game with these modules enough that it doesn't matter. But I can imagine if you're like 30, 40, 50 plays in, that you would like the opponent to sometimes behave a bit differently, or you know, to radically change its strategy or something, and it won't do that. But you know, the other side of that is that it's so easy to use, and it still can present a real challenge. So you know, like if you wanted to interact with all of these elements, you know, then controlling that AI would be more difficult again, and that would take away part of the fun. So I can, you know, it's a difficult equation, and I think this game gets it right. It's so easy to control this AI that it doesn't matter that it might not adjust to everything, because it's challenging, it's easy, so you can just, I've noticed that I'm just really likely to start playing this game whenever I feel like it, because I know I can set up really quickly, just grab the cards for me and the legends and just go. You know, there's no prep or things you have to do for the AI or whatever. No, you can just start playing, and that makes it such a fun game to pick up and just start racing and just having a blast. And so I would highly recommend this game, and I would say if you're a solo player and you don't have a lot of experience with race games, this would be a great game to start, and just a great game to play. So if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to say, comments to add, please let me know. And otherwise, until next time.